And now it's time for second part, education. So, what do you think the turning points have been in your life? What were you like then?
Um, well, education-wise, uh, the first turning point, I would say, was getting accepted at the School of Engineering at Cairo University. That was the most sought after place for people after finishing high school. Um, then the second thing was, uh, by the way, when I went to started my undergraduate work, I knew from the beginning that I wanted to be a petroleum engineer. This is something I had thought about uh, during even my high school day. But getting accepted there was actually a dream that came through to me at that time. Then the second thing, which was also exciting, is getting a scholarship to Stanford University. I didn't even know how good that is at the time. Now I recognize that the event that led me to Stanford was really good fortune. Um, uh, and I was blessed that actually to be able to be a part of that. And when I went to start at Stanford, my first year there, we had a group of students starting the graduate work. There were 14 of us, and we actually bonded very quickly, bonded actually very well, and actually helped each other a whole lot during this year. A lot of these students taught me a lot of things, not only engineering wise, but also about this new country that I came into, the United States. And it was that was extremely helpful to me to continue to go on after that. So these are the 2 points that shaped my life after that. Getting admitted to Cairo University School of Engineering and getting a scholarship at Stanford.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So, but what did you learn during your academic life that you would like to pass on to the next generation?
During education time, university time, first thing you wanted to do is that you need to put in the needed work in order to achieve your goal. It doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter how fortunate you are, you need to put the work in order to reach your goal. Uh, the difference between good and very good is large. But the difference between very good and excellent is huge. There is a whole lot of work that needs to be done to keep on differentiating yourself in order to reach to the top of and the top of where you're going to be. The other thing is that you need to be smart a little bit about the work that you do. You need to be working on the right things. What is the right thing to do? That's what I need to work on. What is the work that actually will get me to achieve my result? That's what I work on. So you need to work to do the right work on the right thing, not just do things. You may be doing them right, but if they are not the right things, then they're not going to make you reach your goal. You also need to spend the needed time and effort to understanding how things work. Physics and mathematics wise, or as these days, people recognize that as physics and machine learning wise. So you need to actually understand how things work. And then the other point that I would say that as you actually continue to work your way through all these points, you will actually will start enjoying what you're doing. you are going to find it, hey, this is not really work. I'm really doing something that is that needed to be done, and I'm actually learning something that is while I'm doing that. And you will find it actually enjoyable, and you will finally get to the point where you do the excellent work, which as I said at the beginning, you need to be doing that. So you need to put in the needed work.
Thank you very much. So, and if you could do it again, what would you like to take take a different academic path, or are you satisfied with the road you followed?
No, I would do the same thing. I always like sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, and math. And I actually chose math because, which when you're in high school, you're studying math, you're not studying engineering. And I chose math because I did not need to memorize the stuff. On all the other branches of science, there is a lot of memorizing you do while you're studying. Where in the case of math, you just need to know, for example, how things work. And in the exam, which is the important goal at that time, in the exam, you have problems and you solve the problems. Where in the other branches, you're actually having to memorize a lot of stuff. And I didn't like that. So that's what I chose, and I found that to be very enjoyable once you actually putting the work and continue to get more experience with it. So I would still choose engineering. It's this is in addition, by the way, of being fun for me to work. You recognize after you continue to work on it that you're actually doing something that is good for human life, not only your immediately, but everything else. We in petroleum engineering, for example, we are the ones responsible for everywhere in the world. When people turn the switch, light comes on, and we will continue to be needed to do that. We're doing something that is that's good, and it's satisfying to do that. So I would be an engineer again.
Totally agree with you. So, and again, how would you describe yourself as a student, both socially and academically?
As a student, socially, I was very active. Again, I mean, I was just like when I was a child. I was very active. I always participated in sports in high school, and when I was a student at Stanford, I organized and I managed intramural sports team for the petroleum engineering students, and with my other and we actually enjoyed playing sports against students from all different parts of the campus. So I was always the manager of that, in addition to being a player. So that I was very, very active in doing that. And with my other classmates also at Stanford, we actually organized and started the SPE Golden Gate student chapter at Stanford University. And we did that back in 1971. This is one of the oldest student chapters for the Society of Petroleum Engineering. People may be surprised to find that that chapter is older than chapter from universities that are more associated with petroleum engineering, like our friends at the University of Texas or Texas A&M, which of course we all have a lot of all the respect for them. So I was a very active social person. Now academically, I always studied hard. Um, some of my friends called me a nerd, which is fine. And I had to do that. I had to do that. I had to study hard because, um, um, I'm not gifted. I'm not stupid. I'm smart, but I'm not gifted. So I actually have to study hard in order to uh, get the work, get the finish the work that needs to be done. Um, and as I mentioned before, that led me to like what I was doing. So I was a good student.
Perfect, perfect. So, was there a teacher or teachers who had a particular strong influence on your life?
Um, Teachers who have strong influence in my life. Actually, I was fortunate that I have lots of them. Um, and maybe okay, maybe I should think about them in order. Um, I would say the first one was my chemistry teacher in high school. I was a student at Al Husseiniya High School in Cairo, and I have a chemistry teacher, and he recognized my interest in math. He also recognized that I'm interested in oil, many things about oil. So he encouraged me to think and about petroleum engineering because that will combine both of these things together. And as I mentioned earlier, when I entered the School of Engineering at Cairo University, I had already decided that I'm going to be a petroleum engineer. So so that was uh, I would say the first teacher that influenced me. Um, then when I was undergraduate student at Cairo University, the late Professor Tahir Al-Hadidi, uh, uh, he was the lead of the petroleum engineering department, and he actually taught me several things. Maybe the main thing I remember him teaching me is that when you have an obstacle, you do not consider that as a problem. You consider that as an opportunity to excel and to do more, and more importantly, not to complain. Uh, just go over it, use it as an opportunity to do something more. When I went to graduate school at Stanford University, um, uh, my first advisor was Professor Hank Ramey Jr. Uh, and I actually went to Stanford on a scholarship that he had started, the Hank Ramey scholarship. And that's how I got admitted to Stanford. So one of the I learned a lot from him. But one of the things that he used to do that he used to help me a whole lot was doing my experiments. Um, uh, I was doing the experiment, but he was the helper. You actually think of him that he was the technician and I was the engineer. And although he was the professor, he actually was the chairman of the department. Um, Humbleness, how to do that. One of the things he taught me is that he said you got to challenge yourself that whenever you attend a lecture or a seminar, you need to learn something new, even if the speaker is talking about a subject which is your area of expertise. You need to challenge yourself to learn something new. And I found that to be extremely helpful. Later on, also at Stanford, the late Professor Bill Brigham, who was my PhD advisor, and his wife, the late Mrs. Carol Brigham, both of them actually kind of like they were my parents at that time, just like parents to me, more especially. And he actually through examples taught me that it is really as important to be a good person as it is to be a good engineer. And this thing throbs on you, and it is very helpful, becomes very helpful to you throughout your career. You find that this mindset has a lot of positive things, and I hope young people who are watching this webinar get to think about that. I was actually honored later on when the name of Professor Brigham was with my name when I got my first award from a technical course, which was the Ferguson Medal. So I was honored that his name was with my name on that one. So as you can see, I was actually fortunate to have several people along the way that influenced me and actually guided me to do and what is important, and actually to make me reach where I am now.
Thank you very much. That's impressive. Thank you very much.